Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Black with only one Trubbish was an easy start with an absolutely brutal ending. Let's follow that up with a fun team run. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Ruby with a team of only version exclusives. So the version exclusives in Gen 3 are a little bit different. Here's the list. Like usual, we're only using Pokemon that are in Ruby but not in Sapphire. This means Seedot, Mawile, Zangoose, Solrock, Groudon, and Latios. Yeah, 2 legendaries are on the exclusives list. Feels kinda weird. Well, Latios is post-game, so we won't even end up getting that, but I guess I'll catch Groudon, even if it feels kind of wrong to be using a legendary. The rest of the team looks pretty fun, though. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. Obviously, we can win. We have access to some pretty decent Pokemon. It's all about the journey, though, and I think this is gonna be a fun one. Can't wait to use Zangoose. I loved using that one back in the day. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use version exclusives. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Mudkip with Zangoose so that we can do the whole run with it. I picked to start with Zangoose because you've already seen me start with a Lunatone, so I figure that starting with Solrock would be kinda similar. Seedot and Mawile can both be caught super early anyway, and starting with a Legendary would probably make the run really boring and easy. Anyway, our nature is bashful, so neutral stat gains should be fine. Zangoose is a really high attack and speed normal type that learns both Swords Dance and Slash pretty early on, so this thing is gonna be awesome for most of the run. I figure it's gonna be our main attacking Pokemon. The first thing I do as I get traveling is I go ahead and catch Seedot, another version exclusive. Ours is modest, so less attack and more special. Honestly, that's perfect since both Dark and Grass are special in this game. It's pretty awful at the start, but it evolves once by level up and then once again by Leaf Stone. It stops learning level up moves once you use a Leaf Stone on it, but that's not really that big of a deal. I don't care about extra sensory, so I'm gonna evolve it once it knows Feint Attack at level 31. If I have a Leaf Stone by then, that is. I made sure to get it the TM for Bullet Seed right away, and I trained it to level it up a little bit. Let's see how the Rock Gym goes. Well, as expected, Bullet Seed worked out pretty well in the Rock Gym. Now this is before Bullet Seed was actually a good move, so it's really not all that strong, but she spent most of her time using Harden, so it's not like she was doing much in return to us. Hey, we even hit level 14 and evolved thanks to the fight. That's kind of awesome. Now that we're back on the road, I go straight for Granite Cave to catch Mawile. We already have our 3rd Pokemon. Our nature is relaxed for more defense and less speed. You know, a Mawile with extra defense does sound kind of fun. Now you may remember from a Mawile run I did a while ago, but it kind of sucks in this game. It's a Steel type, and it can't learn any Steel attacking moves. It does learn Iron Defense and Baton Pass, so maybe I could do something creative with that? And it learns a lot of TMs, but no Steel attacking moves is kind of rough. I doubt it's going to be any good in the upcoming fighting gym, but then again, neither is the rest of our team. He's super effective against everything we have, so this will probably just be a disaster. Yup, even with it being an easier gym than an Emerald, Machop nearly sweeps us. This is with us using a Silk Scarf on Zangoose for some extra damage, by the way. Not only that, but both Nuzleaf and Mawile did almost no damage. I think I'm just gonna have to level up Zangoose a bit and then brute force it. That might not actually be too bad. It's still early in the game, we level up pretty quick. Plus, I need to go grab the experience share now anyway, so I can fight some trainers while I travel. So at level 18, we were still losing really badly each time to Karate Chops, but the moment we hit level 19 and learned Slash, we breezed our way through the fight. Zangoose is just a really hard hitter. I'd have set up a Swords Dance, but Karate Chop really does hurt us badly. Turns out we didn't even need it for this fight though. I went straight for the rival fight after that, and the start was kinda weird. Wailmer just gave up on trying to fight Nuzleaf right away and switched. I don't think I've ever seen this rival switch Pokemon like that. Well, we were doing almost nothing to Grovyle with Nuzleaf, so I ended up having to switch to Zangoose, and it just swept her whole team. I was kind of trying to get more experience on the other members of the team. Hey, at least a win is a win. Would you look at that? It's finally time for some travel footage in this run. It's about time. So I'm going around and cleaning up all of the pre-Electric Gym trainers. Normally in Emerald runs, the Electric Gym is a real sticking point, but it's not quite as bad in Ruby. None of his team have Static, but we do have to contend with 2 different Pokemon that have Thunder Wave, so I expect to get paralyzed. I'm thinking that maybe Fake Tears and Bite will win the first half of the fight, then Zangoose can finish off Magneton after, but who knows. I haven't really done a ton of Ruby runs, so it could be harder than I'm anticipating. Once all the trainers in the area are down, I'll give it a try. So I gave the gym a couple tries at the level we arrived at. Mawile and Nuzleaf actually did a decent job at taking down the first Magnemite between Fake Tears and Thief, and Voltorb was just a one-shot with Slash, but Magneton was a lot stronger than I was expecting. Even with a Silk Scarf, we're doing very little damage with Slash, and his Shockwave did a lot more damage than I was expecting. I think I'm gonna have to grind a little bit before I can win this one. I'm gonna give Zangoose Rock Smash. I'll see if that helps, and if it doesn't, then I'm in for some grinding. Mostly just on Zangoose though. I don't really think Nuzleaf and Mawile are gonna carry us through this one. Okay, Rock Smash did nothing to help us, so I got a bunch of levels on the whole team. But like I figured, it was just the ones on Zangoose that mattered. By level 30, we just needed one Swords Dance, then we could two-shot Magneton with Rock Smash. Hey, it's time to catch our last non-legendary Pokemon, Solrock. Now, this is an alright Pokemon, but I wouldn't really consider it as good as Lunatone. Lunatone is a special attacker, and Solrock is a physical attacker. Considering there aren't many great rock-type moves that it can learn, but it can learn Psychic by TM, I would rather high special attack, but we've got to play with the cards we're dealt. Hardy Nature, so neutral stats. Also, I know it looks fire type, but it's rock and psychic, just like Lunatone. I don't expect this thing to ever be amazing, but it could be solidly useful. We're not gonna have any particularly great special attackers this whole run, so we just have to make do with this. Hey, it being part rock type could be helpful in the upcoming fire gym. Let's see how Maxie goes on top of the volcano first. First is Maxie, and this was actually super easy. I had Mawile start the fight just so Mighty End's Intimidate wouldn't hit Zangoose, then switched into it and took out his team with Slash like it was nothing. I'm really loving how high the attack on Zangoose is. It's crazy to think that if this was Gen 4, Silk Scarf would have us doing even more damage. After that is the Fire Gym, and this actually took quite a few tries. The Slugmas were both a sweep, but the Torkoal at the end hits incredibly hard with Overheat, so I ended up having to send in other Pokemon to take hits of Overheat, so that she'd lose most of her special attack by the time Zangoose came in. We still nearly fainted because of her holding on to Hyper Potions, but a critical slash at the end secured the victory. Let's run straight over to the normal gym. This is actually going pretty well. But on our way there, I took the Root Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone asks anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Wow, normal gym was actually pretty hard and took quite a few tries for once. His first slacking hit us pretty hard, but Zangoose was able to 3-shot it with Slash, so that's what I did. Now, I learned the hard way that the second one is faster than Zangoose and will one-shot him, so I sent in Mawile to lower his attack with Intimidate and get one-shot by Focus Punch. Then I sent in Zangoose to slash it while it was loafing around. We crit it for a lot of damage, and then took it out on the next round as it wasted time with its Focus Punch, forcing it to act second. Last was Vigoroth, but it was just a 2-shot with Slash as it didn't hit us all that hard. I'm happy I took the time to figure out a winning strategy there, because that second slacking felt like a freight train. If it just kept using Facade instead of Focus Punch, then we'd have lost. So we're back to traveling, and we actually have access to some pretty good new TMs. We can grab Ice Beam from the abandoned ship, and we can also get Thunderbolt after doing the little quest at New Moville, which takes like 5 minutes. We don't have any great special attackers, but Ice and Electric moves will give us a lot more type coverage, so they're for sure worth grabbing. I also grabbed the Leaf Stone as I moved through the jungle so that we can evolve Nuzleaf as soon as it learns Feint Attack at level 31. Now, we don't have good choices for who will learn these TMs, as Shiftry will be our best special attacker, but he can't learn a lot of the moves that we want. I'm gonna have to put Thunderbolt on Zangoose and Ice Beam on Mawile just because there's no better choices. I figure that between that and Zangoose having great attack, the Flying Gym shouldn't be too hard. Let's find out. But on the way is the last required rival fight, and yeah, it's as easy as it always is. You've seen me squash this fight with all kinds of weak Pokemon. Of course, Zangoose can handle it just fine. Time for the Flying Gym. Man, it's a good thing that we got Thunderbolt right before the fight, because it turned what could have been a really hard fight into something pretty trivial. Swellow was a one-shot with Slash, Pelipper was a one-shot with Thunderbolt, Skarmory took 2 hits of Thunderbolt, and last was Altaria, who only hit us with a surprisingly weak Earthquake after a Dragon Dance. Nothing to worry about. Right after the fight, I gave Aerial Ace to Shiftry since it's a solid move. Shiftry has good attack, and I really don't want to delete any more moves on Zangoose yet. Alright, we're back on the road, and we have that Psychic Gym coming up pretty soon. I remember it not being nearly as hard in Ruby, but it wouldn't shock me if I still have issues with it. Now, I can pick up Shadow Ball on the way, and I have a few Pokemon that can learn it, but I'm not really sure who I'd give it to. I'm thinking Shiftry, because it's got great attack. Yeah, I could give it to Zangoose, but what would I delete? I could delete Rock Smash now that I could reach the move deleter, but I kind of want to replace that with Brick Break down the line. And my only other good choice would be deleting Swords Dance, but that feels like a waste. Then again, is it a waste to give it to Shiftry? It's a dark type and it already has Feint Attack. That'll probably just do more damage. I think I'll just hold off on learning Shadow Ball until I'm sure that I need it. Maybe later down the line I'll decide that I need it against Phoebe or something in the Elite Four. I doubt I'm gonna need it for the Psychic Gym anyway. I'll grab the TM for Giga Drain too though, that'll definitely help. So despite having the numbers advantage at the Psychic Gym, this took several tries, and I had to really figure out who to send in first. We could always take out Lunatone early, and that's super important because sometimes it uses Light Screen and that ruins our ability to win the fight. The thing is, Sunny Day and Flamethrower is such a powerful combo, and they have such a level lead on us, that Solrock alone is able to beat us multiple times. Eventually, we did get a win, but it was really close. If we didn't get lucky on exactly where Solrock's health landed, he would have used a Hyper Potion and then just beat us. I was on the verge of thinking I needed to learn Shadow Ball to win this one. Alright, we're almost at the point where we get Groudon, but first we have to fight Maxie. Before I go to the fight though, I pick up Brick Break and Earthquake. I actually don't know if I'm gonna need Earthquake for anyone, since Groudon learns it naturally, but Brick Break is pretty awesome, so I give it to Zangoose right away. I'm actually a little bit worried about the Maxie fight, since our team isn't very high level, and I don't have great types to counter them, but we'll see how it goes. So right away, Mightyena lowers our attack with Intimidate, and our speed with Scary Face, so I use Swords Dance to power back up. Brick Break doesn't quite get a one-shot, but weirdly, he only had a Super Potion, so we took him out on the second hit. Crobat was second, so I sent in Solrock to try for Rock Throw, but Bite just crit to one-shot us, so no luck there. Zangoose took a pretty big hit from Wing Attack, but Slash was hitting hard, so we took it out with a little bit of health left. Last was Camerupt, and although we did great damage, Earthquake finished us off. Mawile lowered his attack with Intimidate, but of course just got one-shot by Earthquake, so I had to send in Shiftry to actually finish it off with some hits of Giga Drain. We're in some of the last bits of travel of the game now, and that means we're at that weird point where we're catching Groudon, the legendary we'll have on our team. Now this thing is better than most of our team is at just about everything, as I'm sure you'd expect, so I'm gonna try and use it as kind of our last resort Pokemon. Maybe it'll be like the thing that comes in last if everything else faints. Unless, I mean, we're way behind on levels, then I'll use it normal. I know that technically there's nothing wrong with using it since this is a version exclusive run and it's a version exclusive Pokemon, but I also don't want things to be super boring, so if it feels like he's winning the fights too easily, then I'll have it be the last resort. But then again, it's looking like this is gonna be one of those runs where we get through at a pretty low level, so who knows. Plus, it's not like it's gonna be all that good in the water gym coming up anyway. Right away, Love Disc was just a one-shot with a critical slash, and second is Whiscash, so I had Shiftry use Giga Drain for that double type advantage. It was slightly too weak to get a one-shot, but it didn't matter. He just used Amnesia and then a Hyper Potion. 2 Giga Drains brought him back down to a sliver, he made it rain, then we finished him off. Back out to Zangoose as Celio came out, and Brick Break did great damage, but Water Pulse with the rain did quite a bit to us in return. We took him out but lost half of our health in the process. Second from last was Seaking, so I sent Shiftry back in to use more Giga Drains. We got confused early off Water Pulse, and then hit ourselves 3 times in a row because that's just our luck. Then we got crit by a Water Pulse to get knocked out. That was crazy unlucky. At least Zangoose was able to dodge Horn Drill and finish it off with a couple slashes, but we almost fainted to Water Pulse in the process. Last was Melodic, so I sent Solrock in just to try and do any damage to it, but we just got one shot by Water Pulse. Zangoose did a bit of damage before fainting, then I had to send in Groudon to finish it off with Earthquake. That was really close. Last for the pre-Elite Four fights is Wally, and we don't have Groudon thanks to needing more HMs on the team. Right away, we nearly one-shot Altaria. She uses Dragon Dance and a potion. We nearly take it out again. It hits Aerial Ace, then we finish it off. Delcatty was next, so I just hit Brick Break to nearly one-shot it as it used Dragon Dance with Assist. It wasn't enough to become faster than us though, so a second Brick Break took it out just fine. Magneton is steel type, so I just used another Brick Break to nearly take it out, as we got dropped to only 15 health off Thunderbolt. We took it out, but we're almost down. Out to Mawile to deal with Roselia with Ice Beam, but we got seeded early, so I ended up switching after hitting it once. She can't really do anything to Shift Tree, so I had an easy time using Aerial Ace until she went down. Last was Gardevoir, but a critical Feint Attack nearly took it out right away, and it was just using Double Team. Well, Feint Attack can't miss, so the second one took it out. This was actually pretty hard for a Wally fight. Now that we're the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. Well, we have good Pokemon, but our level is really low compared to a lot of the Elite Four, especially Mawile and Solrock. I can't see either of them being super useful at this point, but I do think that Shiftry and Zangoose will be helpful, especially when Shiftry levels more. I don't think we can quite win this yet, but once the team is closer to level 50, then I think we could win. I'm gonna level up my team to 40, get the Psychic TM for Solrock, get a Shell Bell, then start making attempts. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Dark Trainer Sidney. Right away, Mightyena dropped my attack with Intimidate, accuracy with Sand Attack, and special defense with Crunch. Thankfully, it just took a couple hits of Brick Break to take him out thanks to a crit. Out to Shiftry to deal with Cacturn with our Aerial Ace, as he really couldn't hurt us much with stuff like Needle Arm. Back out to Zangoose to deal with Absol, and it never landed a hit thanks to 2 Brick Breaks taking it out. Sharpedo was nearly a one-shot with a Brick Break, but its Rough Skin and Surf ended up finishing us off. Naturally, he healed back up as I sent Shiftry in, but we healed back up off a Giga Drain in return. We did still lose a good chunk of health before we actually took him out though, thanks to his Slash. Last was a Shiftry Mirror match, and we lost health due to Fake Out right away, but our Aerial Ace did great damage after. He got us with Swagger, and we nearly made ourselves faint, but he wasted a bunch of time with Double Team, so we just finished him off with our now powered up Aerial Ace. That move doesn't miss, so I don't know why he was using Double Team. That went pretty well. Second is Ghost Trainer Phoebe. For the first Dusclops, we just hit one Feint Attack and then it finished itself off with Curse, so we just switched before taking damage to Mawile. That lowered the second Dusclops' attack. Our Crunch didn't do much damage, but it did drop her special defense, so the second one did more, but 2 Earthquakes easily took us out. I ended up sending Shiftry back in to finish it off with some Feint Attacks, but we failed to take it out, and then we got frozen as she healed back up with a full restore, but we defrosted on the first turn, and then took it out in 2 hits. Next is Bayonet, and we hit hard, but between getting burnt and getting hit by Shadow Ball, we went down and had to finish it off with a Thunderbolt from Zangoose. It didn't end up going down from the first one, but we lucked out and it fully paralyzed it. So the second one took it out. I don't like how this is looking though. Second from last is Sableye, so I sent in Groudon to use Earthquake. It worked pretty well, as Shadow Ball didn't hit us hard in return, so 2 good hits took it out. Last was Bayonet, but it's got low defense, and we just crit an Earthquake to one-shot it. Third is Ice Trainer Glacia. This fight was kind of insane. I used Sword Stance once at the start as they were setting up Hail, swept his whole team into Wall Rain with Brick Break, and then she swept us in return with Blizzard, Sheer Cold, and Surf. Are you kidding me? Why does Blizzard never hit that often when I use it? Even Sheer Cold hit on the first try. I must be able to win this if I just try a few times. Blizzard is bound to miss. Okay, literally the next try, and Blizzard misses on the first shot, so we easily won. You know, I'm shocked that we even got this far with our levels this low. There's absolutely no way we beat Drake like this. Fourth is Dragon Trainer Drake. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. I tried this fight a dozen times, and even on this run where we got decently far into the fight with a bit of luck, we still lose badly. The problem is that they resist all of our good moves, so it's pretty much just up to Zangoose to do well with Sword Stance and Slash, but their entire team is a way higher level than us at this point. Ice would obviously do well if we could land an Ice Beam, but it doesn't matter. Mawile is slower than them, and the only dangerous members of his team can just outspeed and one-shot her with a super effective move. You'd think Groudon would do well by virtue of being a legendary, but his slashes did just about nothing. They all resist Fire Blast, and nearly his entire team is immune to Earthquake. I have rare candies, so I think I'm gonna get the team to level 45 and try more. I think it's a really long shot that we'd win at level 45, but it's at least worth trying. I figure we won't stand a chance until the team is at least level 50 though. So I try a few times at level 45, but as usual, it goes awful. Really, the biggest problem is that we're slower than most of his team. As predicted, Mawile does decent damage with Ice Beam, but having the type weakness and being slower just means that she gets one shot by half his team. Like, it's not even close. You know it's bad when Salamence is beating Groudon with fire moves. I know that the sunlight powers it up, but that's still brutal. I figure once the team is level 50, then we might stand a chance, but even then, I'm not convinced it's a win. Wow, this surprised me. So even at level 50, it kind of goes awful. On one lucky attempt, we managed to take down everyone but Salamence, but it's not like we got anywhere close to making it faint. The problem is still that we're slower than them. Look, I know that some of my team doesn't have many effort values. I'm looking at you, Groudon, but this is still shockingly brutal. I'm thinking I'm just gonna need to get another 5 levels on the team before we could possibly win this, and even then, we might need some kind of lucky crit or something like that to win. Hey, on the upside, I actually feel good about the Pokemon Champion fight. At least we have decent types for that battle, whenever we get to it. Alright, so I tried a bunch at level 55, and this one blew my mind. For the first time, Shelgon finally started spamming Protect, so I got to build up way more Swords Dances than normal, and as a result, I got to just slash our entire way through to Salamence. Zangoose went down quickly once we got to it, but that meant that I had my whole team to throw at it. Problem is, Salamence on his own is easily able to take out basically our whole team. We were still bound to just lose again, but the only thing that saved us in the end was that Shiftry crit a feint attack right before we were going to get one-shot by Flamethrower. Despite all those levels in the end, we still only won because of a lucky crit. Whatever, I'm just happy that we finally got into the final fight. Honestly, I think Steven is going to be kind of easy by comparison, but let's see how it goes. Finally, Pokemon Champion Steven. Right away, Skarmory took big damage from Thunderbolt, and it was just using spikes, so 2 hits take it out, but we get hurt whenever we have to switch. Speaking of, I switched to Groudon as Armaldo comes out, and rock it with a Fire Blast. We got hit by a pretty weak Slash before we took it out with Earthquake. After that was Aggron, so of course, one Earthquake took it out. Out to Zangoose to deal with Credilli with Brick Break. Thanks to his Giga Drain, we couldn't just get a 2-shot, so we ended up losing most of our health before we finished it off. I'm getting worried. Next is Claydol, so I sent in Shiftry to use Feint Attack. It hit pretty hard, although we took extra damage thanks to his Earthquake critting us. Still, it was a 2-shot. Last is the pseudo-legendary Metagross, and our Feint Attack didn't do much. We just got taken out by Meteor Mash right after. Groudon was able to come in and finish it with a big Earthquake right after, though, securing us a pretty straightforward first-try victory at the Pokemon Champion. That was a fun run, but these version-exclusive runs always are. And looking forward to following up with a Sapphire run in about a month. It's always fun to see what team does better. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Red with only one Clefairy. I'm kinda surprised I've never done that one. It looks like a fun run. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time, I'll try and keep it a little bit quicker than before, just so it doesn't eat up as much of the video, and also because my neck pains are really bad right now, so I'm getting some of the nerve pains in the right side of my chest right now, and that sucks. So I kind of want to get up and get moving so I can help fix up my neck a little bit. But at least I'm not too horribly lightheaded today, and the abdominal pain is not as bad as yesterday, so that's kind of nice. Now, at the time that I'm recording this is August 7th, I was going to say that tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment, and then I get my 72-hour heart Holter monitor thing at the cardiology clinic, but during this voiceover, I got a call from the cardiology clinic, but my phone glitched out and I couldn't hear them until I restarted it. And so they sent me an email saying they have to move my appointment till earlier in the day, and I get the feeling that isn't gonna work, because the last 3 times I talked to the cardiology clinic about appointments, they tried to book it for 9:30 in the morning on the 8th. And every time I've had to tell them, that is exactly when I have a doctor's appointment that's very important. So I get the feeling that's gonna get bumped at least a week. At worst, it'll get bumped till September or November, because those are the months they initially tried to book things for, which would be really bad, because that's very far away. So I don't know. You can check my Twitter if you want to see if the Holter monitor thing happened, I guess. Yeah, so I wish I had medical updates for you, but it was only a few days ago that I did the voiceover for that previous challenge, so no appointments have happened since then. I went to the walk-in clinic one more time because my blood pressure was really low on the bottom number. See, the funny thing is, I'm not a doctor. I have a rudimentary understanding of a lot of these things. But when you do your blood pressure, you've got two numbers. You've got your top number and your bottom number. Now, my understanding is that the top number is your blood pressure when your heart is beating, and the bottom number is your heart pressure when your heart isn't beating, like in between the beats. The number for when my heart is beating is nearly always in a pretty healthy range. It's the bottom number. It starts with a B. I don't remember what it is. But the pressure when your heart isn't beating in between the beats, that seems to be far too low some of the time. And that's probably what was causing all the lightheadedness, the spots in the vision, the loss of hearing, and, when I passed out. So that's what they're concerned about. I've been to the walk-in clinic another time just because my blood pressure was so bad and it was so rough. But unfortunately, they weren't really able to do anything because they weren't able to prescribe anything. All they were able to do was they listened to my breathing some more, they listened to my heart some more, they took my blood pressure, they listened to my symptoms, and they said, well, you've got these cardiology clinic appointments coming up very, very soon. They said those are very important, definitely go to those, which obviously I was going to go to the appointments. But they were saying that they don't want to prescribe anything to raise my blood pressure in the meantime, just because they don't know if something is seriously wrong with my heart, not until those tests are done. So it'd be too dangerous to go prescribing something to deal with the symptoms when they don't know if the root cause is something a little bit more dangerous. So probably I could be safely prescribed something, but they don't want to take that risk, and that's fair, I understand. But just a little thing I want to point out, guys. Please don't try to diagnose me if you're not a medical professional. I do have a lot of medical professionals in the community, which is cool. Some of you guys have reached out to me in private and have given me some really good advice, and I really appreciate that. But I've also seen a slew of really, really awful advice and people trying to diagnose things who are just so unbelievably wildly off, where it's like you heard one symptom and you thought it sounded similar to one person in your life forever ago, and you go writing me paragraphs about medical advice that is so unbelievably irrelevant. Guys, please don't try to diagnose me if you're not my doctor, because the ones who are trying to diagnose me and are actually doctors, like the ones in the community who are doctors, they come to me and they ask questions. They're not coming to me immediately saying what they think I have. They're asking questions, because that's what a doctor does. If you want some of the funny ones I got, some of these I feel like someone on Twitter said that it really is astonishing how bad people's how did they word it? It was like their vocal recognition or something, their voice retention. I don't know. I don't remember their verbiage for it anymore. But just how bad people are at listening, really. I had a few people really insistent that it was my appendix, even though, again, that does not match most of my symptoms. And also, I already told you guys in the video that they checked my appendix. Now, when I say they checked my appendix, I mean the first time I was in the hospital, they ultrasounded my whole gut, and they also did a CT scan, and none of those showed anything. And then the third time I was in the hospital, the really good doctor that I got that time, who was really, really thorough, he said that he wants to for sure rule out appendix, which I said in the video. And so he sent me in for another ultrasound very specifically just for the appendix. They literally have a measurement of the appendix they sent me home with. I don't have the sheet in front of me. I guess it's in the other room. Doesn't really matter. Normal-sized appendix. I don't have appendicitis. Some people were very insistent about that. Oh, God, there were other ones that were even crazier. Oh, one person was insistent that it could be my sodium levels. I don't know what point of I've been doing extensive blood work and urine tests you guys didn't get. But I can guarantee if my sodium was way out of control, they would have seen that. But I've seen the sheets. My sodium is perfectly fine. Another person said that I might be drinking too much water. Guys, I'm not drinking too much water. I promise I'm not drinking too much water. I actually ran the amount of ounces I drink a day past every doctor I talk to, because I'm the freak who has, I'm checking right now. Hold on, let me open up my FitnessPal on my phone. Come on, load. I'm going on my profile. I have a 1,265-day streak of tracking my food. Yeah, I drink the amount of water I am supposed to be drinking for a person my size and my height, which is currently 151 pounds, standing at 5'9.5". I'm drinking about 100 ounces of water a day. I understand that's more than your average person, however, that is well within a healthy range. Don't worry, I ran it past every doctor. They're all happy with the amount of water that I drink. That's not the problem, and even if I had too much water, that wouldn't cause most of what I have going on. The most insane one I saw was, hold on, I gotta scroll and find this one because it was really insane. Where is it? I know I have it on this page. Here we go. Dude, it might just be stress that's affecting you. Try acupuncture or get a massage. Man, I don't know. Man, I hope you're not giving this kind of medical advice to other people, and I hope they don't take it because they die. Are you kidding me, man? You think that someone gets 2 wisdom teeth taken out. They start getting progressively sicker and sicker, where all of a sudden their blood pressure starts dropping to dangerous levels where they're passing out at home, and paramedics have to bring them to the hospital in which they are cold for hours with severe abdominal pains. Where I have now seen at this point, I guess it's 7 doctors now, because I saw 3 different ones at my 3 different trips to the walk-in clinics, because I did another walk-in clinic trip since the last time. And I did 3 trips to the hospital. The first time I saw 2 doctors, second time I saw 1 doctor, third time I saw 2 doctors again, because they were switching shift. So I've seen 7 doctors now. 7 doctors have all heard all of these symptoms and have thoroughly checked me out and have sent me to a bunch of specialists, and by sent me to, I mean they've referred me to. I haven't seen any of them yet because it takes a long time to see a specialist in Ontario. That's just how it is here. And you think, dude, it might just be stress affecting you. I don't know what to tell you, man. If it was stress affecting me, wouldn't the blood work show cortisol would be through the roof? Because my cortisol looked fine. It's just, look, if you're not a doctor, please don't try to diagnose me. I know, look, if you're talking about symptoms on the internet, there's gonna be people who assume that they know what's going on. But you don't know every last detail, you don't know every last symptom, and everyone conflates it with something else. I've had dozens and dozens of people tell me that it's POTS, or POTS, or whatever you want to call it. Even though 2 years ago, I had the exact same thing where 1 million people were telling me it's POTS or POTS or whatever, and I had totally different symptoms than this time. The only thing in common is that I collapsed both times, but one time I collapsed due to severe pains in my chest, which I said at the time, and this time I collapsed because I literally passed out due to low blood pressure. Those are completely different things. And 2 years ago, I actually did get a diagnosis. It was cervical radiculopathy. It was nerve pains coming from my neck because my neck is messed up. When I talked to the endocrinologist, she even explained how that would make you collapse and be shaky and unable to get up. When you feel a really severe internal pain like that, your body goes into kind of a panic recovery mode. And that's what she thought happened to me. It's her hunch, of course, but it's a hunch from a specialist, so I do take that quite seriously. It's the same hunch the cardiologist had 2 years ago, too. But this is clearly a different health issue than that. I'm having nerve pains right now, due to my neck, but those nerve pains only happened weeks after this health stuff started, and I know why. It's because I haven't been able to work out, because of my blood pressure issues. So I'm back down to very rudimentary working out, and of course I was not eating enough right after I had my wisdom teeth taken out, because I was on a liquid diet for a little while, and a mashed potato diet, so I wasn't getting my protein and stuff. I ended up losing 6 pounds over the course of a month, which is way more than I normally lose. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, I've been trying to bulk. So that's not fun. But now that I said that, everyone's gonna go Googling and freaking out about what could be causing me to lose a whole bunch of weight. And I can tell you, No, man, it's probably just mostly the under-eating because of all the health stuff. I've gotten a little bit of that weight back. I'm back up like 1.5 pounds now that I'm eating a little bit more normally. I've got my girlfriend over, so the meals are getting a little bit more regular now that I've got someone to help me out at home regularly. Make sure that I'm on top of the meals and stuff, and to help me out if I need to lay down and stuff. So I appreciate that. I'll be okay, probably. I don't know. It hasn't gotten too far in the way of work so far. Last week when I did my voiceover, it was very difficult to do my voiceover. It took me like the whole day. Today, it's taken me more like an hour. Which, you know what, that's roughly average considering I see that I'm 42.5 minutes into this voiceover. It'll be less when you're watching it though, because I got flubs to cut out. But I'm tripping over my words less today. I have less abdominal pain today. And I haven't gotten so lightheaded that I've needed to immediately lay down in 3 or 4 days, which is a record for me, I want to point out. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. I don't want to say that I'm getting better because I've had good days and I've had bad days. So I don't know. And that's the thing. Nobody knows. Nobody knows until I see these specialists and we get a real diagnosis. But I would really like a real diagnosis. Maybe there's some kind of inflammation in the muscles in my abdomen. Maybe there's inflammation or ulcers in my intestines. There's a lot of things that this could be. What was it? One person was saying my sulfate was wrong in I think they Twitter DM'd me or something. And they were freaking out and saying, it's your liver, get your liver checked right away because your sulfate numbers are bad. Even though in the same sentence that I said the sulfate thing, I also said that the doctor took my sulfate numbers through the blood test. He said that they look off, but that it could be a bad reading, and so he wants me to get a blood test again first thing the next day. So I did get the blood test the next day, and my sulfate was totally normal. So it was probably just a bad reading, like I said at the time, but I get it. I know people are going to be worried about me, because you guys care, and I do appreciate that, but please don't try to diagnose me. Trust me, if you're worried about my stress levels, you know what increases my stress levels? Getting countless DMs of people trying to diagnose me. And then I feel like I gotta respond to at least some of these because people are panicked about me. And the response is almost always just, no, my symptoms aren't anything like you're describing, you know? Or people saying, I had this health issue and it sounds exactly like yours. And what I've noticed is anytime somebody says it sounds exactly like yours, it has almost nothing whatsoever to do with mine. I've never seen someone describe one that's anything like mine and use the words exactly like, but I've seen a lot of people say the words exactly like, and it was exclusively when it was nothing like mine. So, it's just the nature of the internet, I guess. Anyway, I need to get up, I need to stretch out, I need to get some walking. This room is super hot because I've got the windows closed because it's loud outside, kids playing outside, it's a nice day. I got the door closed because I need to for the voiceovers. And it's a really nice day for once after weeks and weeks of miserably hot weather, so I'd really like to get out there a little bit. I gotta check the mail anyway, because it's been 2.5 weeks since that second hospital trip, or I guess the third one, the second ambulance trip, and I still have not gotten the bill for it yet. It's gotta be in by now, but I don't know, man. My mail is always late here. You can thank Canada Post for that one. So I gotta go for a walk, get the mail, and probably complain about the ambulance bill. The first one, by the way, has come in, and I paid that. It was fine. It's up to the ambulance drivers, or I guess it's the paramedics, to determine if they think it's a medical emergency or not. If they think it's a medical emergency, then they charge you a really, really reduced rate. For me, it was $45, which is crazy cheap, even here for an ambulance ride, but it's not a long ride. But the second one, because they didn't watch me pass out that time, and I was the one who actually answered and unlocked the door because they were going to bash it if I didn't, so I had to haul myself downstairs, and then, I was still on the floor shaking and they were doing my blood pressure, but because I'm the one who answered the door, because I was home alone, there's a chance that they'll say, oh, probably wasn't a medical emergency then because you weren't on the floor when we came in. And if that's the case, then they might charge me hundreds and hundreds. Who knows? It might be sitting in my mailbox, it may not, but if they do, that's awful. Don't go worrying about it, though. I know someone's going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh, I want to pay it then. Look, I've gotten a bunch of tips from you guys just over the last few weeks. I haven't even totaled all of it yet, but you guys have sent me a bunch of tips, and I really appreciate that because this is getting in the way of work more than I would like. So I think I'm going to be okay financially for a while. Like, if I had to stop working for an extended period of time, of course, that could be a problem. But a lot of you guys have just sent me little tips here and there, and you've attached little messages and just said, like, hey, I've been watching for, like, 7+ years. Consider this me paying you back for all the free entertainment. Damn, I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. That means a lot to me. So I even if this bill ends up being ridiculous, I think I'll be okay. Plus, I had someone who wanted to remain anonymous who said that if the bill is ridiculous, they want to cover at least some of it. And that means the world to me. Told them that they don't need to honor that because, you know, situations change. Take care of you and yours first. But yeah, I got a lot of people who really care about me, and that means a lot to me. Sorry I haven't been doing more for the last few years than I would like to. Believe me, I would like to. I would like to be streaming multiple times a week like I used to. I would like to be doing more Let's Plays, both Pokemon and non-Pokemon games. I adore both. And I would like to be doing more complicated challenge runs, too. That would take a little bit longer, but life things just kept getting in the way, and I think you can understand that. I was gonna be doing a lot more once I healed from the whole, you know, tooth surgery thing, the wisdom tooth extraction, but as it stands, I have not healed. You know, I got those out on late June. I think it was like the 29th. It was like right at the end of the month. And it is August 7th? Yeah, it's August 7th right now, 2024. So, still not healthy yet. Seem to be a lot worse because of these abdominal pains and stuff. They move around a bit too. That's the scary part. That's the thing that makes me think maybe it's the abdominal wall. I don't know. I don't want to go theorizing too much, though, because I don't know if it's intestines. I don't know if it's liver or bladder or kidneys or it could be in the muscles, you know? Hey, if I have EDS and it's believed that I have EDS because my mom was diagnosed and the whole family has the same symptoms, so the doctors have assumed I have EDS. If I have EDS, then I could have issues in connective tissue. Maybe I've got like inflammation in the connective tissue between, my skin and my abdominal wall? I'm not actually sure what the inflammation there would be, but I do have an understanding that something could happen there. Maybe this is that. I don't know. It's up to the specialists to find out, but hey, at least if my Holter monitor thing gets canceled tomorrow, and I really hope it doesn't, at least if it does get canceled tomorrow, then I'll still have the doctor's appointment. Now, I know my family doctor isn't going to be able to do anything on the spot, but she's going to refer me to a gastroenterologist, enterinologist, something like that. Apparently the hospital's not able to refer me to that. They've told me that a few times. So they all told me, get a doctor's appointment ASAP, have them refer you. And that'll be so that they can look at probably stomach and intestines, I think. Because maybe it has to do with that. I don't know. That's in the same ballpark region of my body. So maybe it's that, maybe it's not. But it seems like a wise idea to check. Now, I told myself I'd keep the outro this time to like 10 minutes because I don't want to waste all your time. And I now realize I've been talking for 20 minutes. Sorry. I don't mean to make these all outro. I'm sure people are getting fed up with it. Some people were quite disappointed that the Ghastly run was mostly outro, but look, people ask about the health stuff. I know you needed to know, and most people don't follow me on Twitter. I understand. You don't have to follow me on Twitter, obviously. You're not obligated to do anything. You're not even obligated to watch the videos. Watch whoever you want. This is YouTube. You got the freedom to choose. I am going to get walking, get stretching a little bit, and go check the mail and hope I'm not disappointed. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.